kind of a follow-along presentation. We're going to be sharing screens on Adobe Screen Connect. So you may want to load up these URLs on your laptop now. You may have to download some software. For those of you who can't read it, it's wally.adobeconnect.com/screen3. wally.adobeconnect.com/screen4. And just switching back and forth. My name is Scott Gibson. I'm the development manager for the kd1 team on the RISE project. Some of you may have seen our presentation last year where we outlined what we hope to accomplish with the kd1 development. And today we're going to showcase what we've completed to date. There were two main driving factors behind the kd1 development effort. The first being the review of the quality nervous system, which is the current application development framework in quality RISE. This review was done by the RISE Technical Roadmap Committee. Some of the findings in there were that the user interface was not as customizable or configurable as one would like, and some of the technical libraries were getting outdated. The other main driving factor was the Quality Student Project that had begun building its own application framework. It was very rich with Web 2.0 functionality, but they weren't able to achieve the development velocity they desired. So kd1 aims to bring the best of both worlds together and provide a configurable, rich UI that is still a rapid application development framework. The team started rather small with Sherry Neal, a seasoned program analyst from Indiana University, who was actually a developer on the first version of the quality nervous system and spent several years on the quality financial system before coming to the RISE team. And David Elliott from San Joaquin Delta College. He spent several years on the quality student team, and he was on the RISE team before that. After the first successful milestone release, we were able to attract more support. We picked up Sam Holzkamp from Open Collab, a senior developer who was new to the quality development, although one would never know it. We also picked up Brian Smith from San Joaquin Delta College. He was the leading UI developer on the student team. Rounding out the team is James Smith, a program analyst from Indiana University. He provided our documentation support. I have to say sometimes he had to do a bit of reverse engineering to figure that out. This enabled him to provide quite a bit of insight and input into the design process for kd1. You will find kd1 in the RISE 2.0 release. What we have so far is our configurable rich framework, and it's been integrated with the maintenance document framework. It's also been updated to Spring MVC, so we hope this is something for functional and technical people to appreciate. And RISE 2.1, we plan to continue building on those UI enhancements, as well as tackle the transactional document framework and bring it up to parity with the current KNS framework. I'm sure you'd much rather see kd1 in action than hear me talk about it, so I'm going to hand it over to James and the rest of the team.
Thank you so much, Scott. I'm not quite the accomplished speaker this side, so I will be holding my own notes. Thank you. So, Scott alluded to a lot of big plans that the RISE team wanted to implement with kd1. It was taking all of the pieces of the KNS, but making them better, and then adding new pieces on top of it. And so today, right in front of your very eyes, a kd1 application is going to be built for you, from the basic steps up to very complex functionality. And this is quite an application as well. This is a sports application that's going to have team and player lookups and inquiries, but then all the way go up to a very sophisticated, real-time data updating game tracker that tells you the score in your favorite game, which for some reason someone decided was the IU Purdue game. But that's, it wasn't me. So, why did we choose a sports app? People come to quality with the expectation of high-quality enterprise applications, right? We don't want to change that perception, but what we want to do is expand it. We want to show that kd1 was built with a wider user base in mind. Not only the super trained, brilliant enterprise person who knows their job and gets through the forms in super fast time, but also an end user who may be using this application for the first time. A high school student applying for a university admission. So it runs the gamut of user experience. So we wanted to show that off. Now, all of you should have picked up a handout, right? Okay. Yeah, I can see exactly. You missed it. They're right there. You're very close. So we'll be chatting with each of the developers to follow along each step, and that is easier if you have the handout. Everything is built, so as we go through the steps, some code may not make much sense yet, but it's all going to be covered, so hold your questions till the very end. And then finally, I want to mention again, there are the two screen shares, so if you have your laptop, you might want to pull them out. As Scott said, they are QualityAdobeConnect.com Screen 3, which will be David, and QualityAdobeConnect.com Screen 4, which again, for the first hour will be Jerry. Alrighty. Great. So, we're going to start with David. David, here we are. We're starting a new kd1 application. What do we need to set up?
Well, the basics of an application in kd1 differ very little from the basics that you'll see in your kd1 application. You'll see here for our sports themed app, we've got some pretty standard concepts. We've got an application resources file. You'll see here we have our sample app module beans, and then in here you can see how we set up the data dictionary. The sample app module beans currently have all the sample app data, so none of this is needed for sports. The sports section is actually down here. You can see our individual business objects, venue, team, game, player, gameplay, and game recap. And then also our view, XML definitions, and then widget definitions, which we'll go over later. Currently, the system that we wrote is set up as a business object system, exactly the same as kd1. We have OJB on the back end, so we have pretty standard OJB mappings. I'm not going to go over those in too much detail. We do have a custom CSS file and a custom JavaScript file for specific elements that we use in our views. And then, just real quick, the table structure, as I said, we have a venue, we have team, we have player stats. They're all very interconnected objects. The team has a list of players, the player is linked to a team and to his stats. A venue is linked to a team and a game. So they're also very interconnected for this particular app. But the basics are going to be just the same as what is known in kd1.
Great. Hi, Jerry. My next question is for Jerry. So, Jerry, my understanding is that in the first step for a kd1 application, once we've done the basic setup, is to break into views the application. So, what are views?
Right. So, views is a view is a term we use in the kd1 framework to describe setup-related web pages that work together for the user to perform some course-grading function in the system. Some examples are performing lookup or search, what we call the inquiry, where you drill down into some information, the state of the maintenance doc, where you maintain data, and then you have other types of documents, and we can even have just kind of general types of what we call form views, where it's essentially a view that's built on a form and does whatever the application requires. So essentially what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be building a handful of these views, starting out with the basic inquiry lookup and maintenance views, and moving on to more complex, just general form views.
Okay. Now, I understand that there's a basic view. Can I extend the functionality of that basic view?
Right. So kd1 comes out of the box with these kind of default view types, and we're going to learn more about components later on. But a view is a type of component, and what that means is that its configuration or base configuration is in a screen bean. And so if we wanted to kind of extend that and kind of set up our own base view for how we want our application screens to look or behave,